Welcome to another episode of the Orange Nerd Show. We are talking about Hollywood. Has Hollywood turned on not just Bob Iger, but the Walt Disney Company in general? You see a lot more hostility in the air towards the Walt Disney Company, from previously friendly outlets and what have you. What's going on here? We're going to talk about it. I got the Italiano on deck to discuss this with me on this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. Welcome aboard, everybody, to this episode of the Orange Nerd Show here on OG55. Citrus George, the Italiano, is here to join me today to talk all about crazy kind of shift in the tone, right, in Hollywood towards Disney in general. It's kind of weird, and you really do see it with this Wish movie. It's crazy. We're going to dive into it. But before I do that, I want to introduce my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, the Italiano. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me, brother. It's always glad to be on with you, talking shop, talking Disney, talking all this crazy shit that's going on lately. I mean, it's just wild. But yeah, I can't wait to dive in with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you could let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, because you've been firing off some pretty spicy tweets. They got to check those out, George.
Yep, I have been. It's been wild. It's amazing that the amount of views that I'm getting on this thing, which I'm glad, because it needs to be said, it needs to be heard, and I'm glad people have listening ears and reading eyes on it. So, but I digress. You could find me on social media on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There you go. You're officially in. All right. So let's talk about this. So actually, a friend of the channel, actually two friends of the channel. I like both of these gentlemen. We have, let me pull up X. So we have Mark, who's a friend of the channel. We also have Hedge, longtime friend of the channel. So Mark was saying, and this is kind of he's talking about Wish and but kind of piggybacking off of the whole debate around Wish and the week. The soft kind of opening weekend box office. And Mark here says, I think there is an underground part of Hollywood that wants to see Disney fail. That's interesting, because I've been thinking that too lately. And I'm glad he actually tweeted this out, because it's a fascinating point. But then Hedge replies with, yep, and it's not so underground today. Pretty above ground. That whole Barbenheimer pump fest with no buzz for Indiana Jones 5, that said it all. There was a full court press to pump those movies. Okay, now here's the thing. I'll go to you in just a second, George. But Hedge, okay, first of all, Mark is right. There's something in the air with Hollywood. The trades, Variety, recently did that hit piece on the MCU, which turned out a lot of stuff wasn't even really accurate. A lot of these creatives from within Marvel said a lot of that was BS and not even the case. But that's just one example. But you're seeing the tension between Disney and Hollywood kind of rise, right? And here's the thing. It's like I understood it with Bob Chapek because, Bob Chapek, they didn't like him. He was the outsider. He wasn't the Hollywood guy. I understood why the knives were out for Chapek. Now that Iger's back, though, it's really strange how that tension has not only lingered, but almost escalated against Disney. Really strange. And Hedge makes a great point. That whole Barbenheimer promotion. I mean, you had all of fucking Hollywood out there pumping Barbie and Oppenheimer. Go to the theater, support the theater, go to the theater, check out Barbie, check out Oppenheimer. Where was Indy 5? How come there wasn't this big push for Indy 5? Very convenient that the two movies they're pushing is a Warner Brothers and a Comcast Universal movie. I think Hedge is on something with this, man. I'm telling you, Hollywood, there's something going on with Disney that Hollywood doesn't feel right. Maybe Disney's gotten too big and Hollywood wants to knock Disney down a few pegs. I don't know what's going on, but what are your thoughts on this, George? Do you sense a little bit of hostility from the industry towards Disney right now?
I never really thought about it until Hedge kind of brought this to our attention, and honestly, he seems spot on about it. You know, I mean, we've heard nothing but a lot of cross promotion between actors, you know, just people in Hollywood in general. There was a lot of buzz talking about it. There was between Barbie and Oppenheimer, which were good films, you know, very good
Yeah.
films. You and I got to see Oppenheimer in theaters together,
Yeah, it was good.
in LA. So I mean, yeah, it was a very decent movie, very long, you know, but it was a very good movie. But but yeah, but then when it came time for Indiana Jones, one of the greatest film franchises ever in cinematic history with Indy 5, it was crickets. There was no sound of Hollywood sounding the alarms to say, "Oh, everyone, go see this movie." I mean, this is Harrison Ford's last film to dawn, not his last film, excuse me, his last Indiana Jones film to dawn on
Right.
the hat and whip and what have you. That, I mean, it's like, why not push that? You know, and then
I
even
mean, it,
with
Barbie and
Wish.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
I mean,
With what?
even
I'm
with
sorry. Go ahead,
Wish.
George.
Oh no, it's okay. I was going to say, and even with Wish, you know, it's an animated movie that is supposed to symbolize the first 100 years of the Walt Disney Company, to showcase the 100 years in the making. And it's like, why wouldn't Hollywood want to promote something like that? They were always on good terms with Disney and vice versa. And it's like, now it just seems like there's like tension in the air. It's like it's so thick you can cut it with a knife, and it never felt that way between Hollywood and Disney.
No, they never
But
did.
what was funny is when you mentioned Chapek, I wonder if it's they should have kind of felt that way towards the individual, and now it kind of put like a sour taste in everybody's mouth because Chapek was affiliated with Disney. So now that they're making the whole company suffer just from that moment that he was CEO. And for which, I don't know, maybe they have a bad taste in their mouth for Bob Iger as well, because maybe in their minds it was essentially his decision to put Chapek in the CEO position.
Well, it was his choice to put Chapek there, but it was also Bob Iger kind of put his foot in his mouth when he talked about the writer strike. You know, he said that
That too.
they were being unreasonable and this, that, and the other. And it's like, but even that, let's just say, okay, I understand. Okay, the writers, creatives, Hollywood would get mad over that.
But there's so many great talent over at the Walt Disney Company. You're basically punishing everybody that these people put their heart and soul into making these films and doing their jobs of their passion, and it's being neglected, so to speak, because for what? For politics?
Yeah, and I don't understand it because David Zaslav has put his foot in his mouth a million times, and he's done all kinds of things that the industry was mad about. But for some reason, there doesn't seem to be that same kind of hostility, and that's why I feel like there's something going on with possibly Hollywood feeling slightly threatened that Disney got a little too big. Maybe they want to knock it down a little bit. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. I'm literally just kind of throwing stuff out there. Maybe the audience can kind of comment and kind of let us know what you all think. But I mean, look at the trades. I mean, the trades used to be notoriously friendly towards Disney, especially when Bob Iger was in there. Now it's like you can smell blood in the water.
Yeah.
It's a whole different atmosphere. This Wish movie comes out. I'm even seeing like these mainstream kind of like box office analyses folks, like mainstreamers. I'm not talking about like the YouTubers that the anti-woke YouTubers that pretty much rail on Disney all the time. I'm talking about mainstream, like the like people that are supposed to be more middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing even them tweeting out very snarky, almost gleeful kind of tweets about Wish not living up to what was expected. It's like, what's going on? It's like there's this like fervor to like just take down the mouse. It's like crazy.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it, honestly. And I was just kind of having this conversation with you before we started recording. everyone is tying Wish still to, the quote unquote of it being woke. If Disney was to go back to making its great content that it is, and not have woke in it, I'm not understanding. I have seen Wish. I have seen it. I literally went Thanksgiving Day to see Wish. I did not see not one inclination of wokeness in this movie. And honestly, for the people, the naysayers that are saying there's woke in this movie, one, I don't even know if you even seen this movie. You're just judging it because you're seeing, oh, the Disney label brand name tied to it, so you think automatically it's woke. But in the slight chance that you did see this movie, I'm asking you, can you tell me, am I missing something? What in this movie is woke?
No,
I
well,
don't. I don't get it.
we went through this on Twitter today. I made a tweet because someone made a tweet basically saying that this movie is doing bad because it's woke or something like that, and I quote retweeted and said this has nothing to do with this movie being woke. For everything that I've heard, I've heard nothing about this thing being woke. Disney Plus and that whole situation is what's hurting this movie. The expectations from families that this thing will be on Disney Plus by Christmas is what's hurting this movie. That's what's hurting this movie. Not that it's woke. Barbie. I remember YouTube was, oh my God, this is the wokest movie in the history of woke movies. Remember Barbie, the lead up to that movie?
Yeah.
What
And
happened?
yet it made It made over $1 billion.
It made $1 billion fucking dollars. Oh, go woke, go broke though, right? What? How do you justify that? I don't understand this. It makes no fucking sense. Hunger Games out in theaters right now is actually doing pretty good. And guess what? Rachel Zegler's in it. Oh, everyone complains about her and her politics, and that movie's doing just fine. So I don't think it has anything.
That's where the twist is coming with Hollywood. Something is being misled or kind of being left out of the picture when there's the process of Disney films.
There's something going on, dude, and I have no idea what it is. I'm not an insider at all, obviously, but there's something going on where the Hollywood does not like Disney right now for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. The trades, they've all decided we're going to turn against Disney, and it could be as simple as just, hey, you know what? Trashing Disney is big money. It works for people on YouTube. It works for people in that space. Maybe Variety and all them decide to jump on that gravy train. That's very possible. Very, very possible. Negativity sells. And it's not just, to be fair, it's not just the YouTubers. Negativity has always sold. Your local news reports negativity all day long because, again, that's what sells. And it's been like that for decades and decades and decades. It could be something as simple as that. Like our friend Jay Shear, who's a host of the Story Geek show here on the channel, said, it's like the Yankees. Everyone kind of roots for the Yankees to fail because they're like the team that always wins or whatever. I don't know sports, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, right? No, that's what he said, right, Jay?
Right.
And it's like maybe that's the equation here is like, it's Disney's the Yankees, and so when you report on the Yankees losing the game, you get a lot of eyeballs. It could be something simple like that. It's just really, really bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. And this whole conversation around this Wish movie is driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts, George. I'm telling you.
But it's the publicity it's the wrong negative publicity that this film is getting, where it should be getting the opposite. It's like no one has anything bad to say about it until it's released. And yet they still don't go see the movie, and yet they're making negative thoughts. So why weren't you saying negative thoughts with the trailer?
I keep hearing from people when I make my tweets about, support original films, because if Disney sees they get a return on these original films, it incentivizes more original films. We're going to get Frozen 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 if they feel like they have to go towards something with less risk. You know what I'm saying? But then I get these responses, well, maybe Disney should just make a good movie. Well, they did. It has an A- cinema score. This thing, people talk like Wish is like just trash. A- cinema score is pretty good. That's not bad.
No. And honestly, as I said, I put Wish in the same category group as I do with Tangled and Moana and The Princess and the Frog. I feel like it's a very strong, leveled, animated movie, and it has a very deep core message about the company, about its animation, about Walt Disney himself. It's
Our friend
it
Marty saw it today. He liked it. He liked it a lot, actually.
he
I saw
did.
him talking to you on Twitter about it.
Yeah, he did. And honestly, he noticed the same thing that I had. It's the character is a representation of Walt himself and his wish and his dream of pursuing his wish to become a reality. You have to go out and fight for it. You have to do it yourself. You can't
Yeah,
rely on putting it in the hands of somebody else that is a higher power to
yeah.
either tell you yes or no that your wish can or cannot come true.
And George, I already know the narratives that we might see in the comments. Oh, you guys are just, shilling for the Mouse House, and
We're
oh,
pixie dusters.
You're pixie dusters, and oh, Bob Iger thanks you. You know what? Nobody's been more critical about Disney animation the last few years than I have been. I have railed against the modernization of these jokes that they throw in these movies, like the Twitter joke in Moana that's already fucking outdated because it's not even Twitter anymore. The Wreck-It Ralph thing. I said Wreck-It Ralph doesn't even look like a Disney movie. It should have been under Pixar. I have been so super critical of this animation studio for years and years and years. I'm talking when Lasseter was still there. I was critical of this thing. I'm not shilling for Disney animation, but if I feel like it's being unfairly attacked, which I do feel it is, this movie is being unfairly attacked, I'm going to stand up for it. And I'm sorry, you can call me a shill all you want, but if this movie it doesn't appear to be that bad. I see a lot of my friends coming back from it, even critical people like Marty. Marty's a critical dude. We've had him on the show before. He doesn't shill for anything Disney.
Nope.
Very critical guy. And he came back, he said he liked it a lot.
And honestly,
I don't understand.
And honestly, every person that is associated with the OG55 network, we tell it like it is. We're real people. If something is not right, we'll say it. If something is right, we'll say it. Whether it comes from Disney, whether it comes from Universal, whether it comes from Warner Brothers, it doesn't matter. We are not one-sided, biased a group of people.
No, and here's the thing that people don't understand, and I see this all the time too. When there's a negative review, people assume negativity means authentic. When there's a positive review, oh, you're being fake and you're being a shill. I'll tell you what, you can be fake and phony on both sides. You can be a positive person and you can be a legitimate shill. Absolutely, not denying that doesn't exist. It does. It's out there. Mm-hmm. But you mean to tell me that everyone that trashes Disney or that's negative is automatically authentic? Are you kidding me? There's a huge, it's very lucrative to trash the Mouse House. And just because someone gets on camera and trashes every fucking movie Disney makes doesn't make them authentic because it's a negative opinion. Negativity can be just as much of a grift as it is when you're positive and you're trying to get your access to the movie premiere. It cuts both ways, y'all. It cuts both ways. And you know what? Positivity will get you that movie premiere access, but negativity will get you the new house and the brand new car. Okay? So it's way more lucrative being negative. Believe me, George, I'm telling you right now, if we got negative, if we went bad, big mouse bad, we'd have double the subs in a year, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, but I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I prefer to be honest with my audience. So that's how I feel about it. But
we don't do it just for clickbait.
Yeah, but I'm glad, George, because you saw the movie. I'm planning on seeing it sometime this week. You got me intrigued now. Even Marty too. Like I'm hearing a lot of good buzz about this thing. I want to see this movie. I did see what you were talking about with the beginning and the book, the screenshot. It looks absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love that.
It is. When the movie when it started and it said Walt Disney Presents, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm looking at the opening of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and then the curtain moves, and I thought, and there's the book. It says Wish. I thought that was fucking genius. Yeah, that was like, dude, what a way to start the movie than to start it with the opening credit of Disney's Folly, the one that started it all. And that's literally, it is the one that started it all. What a great way to start it. And at the very, very end, and spoiler folks, but you know what? You're already bad mouthing the film, so I don't even know why you fucking care about spoilers. So but it's so at the very end, as I said, let it go through all the credits, because it's really cool of how Disney showcases a character that represents the particular film as it goes through the decades. of Disney animation. Like it starts off with Snow White, and then it goes to Pinocchio and Dumbo and Sorcerer Mickey and Cinderella. It'll go in sequence when the movie is finished. And at the very end, there's a final clip of Asha's grandfather sitting in a little grassy uh, little meadow hill, and he's playing his guitar, looking up at the sky at the stars, and he's playing the melody of When You Wish Upon a Star. I mean, again, can't get any better than that.
No, you can't, man. There's a lot. It sounds like there's a lot of good in this movie. Is it a perfect movie? No, of course it's not going to be a perfect movie. What is, except for Beauty and the Beast, but yeah.
I'm right there with you, brother. I don't think anything honestly can touch Beauty and the Beast.
I love that movie so much. The animated, obviously, I want to.
Oh yes, of
yeah,
course.
The animated one is just flawless, masterpiece. I mean, Beauty and the Beast is one of those movies that like literally gives the Walt Disney era movies a run for its money, and that says a lot, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that movie was not even, they didn't even have an animation category back then. That sucker was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm telling you. And that made me so mad because it lost
Silence of the Lambs, really?
Right. It lost to Silence of the Lambs. That pissed me off so much. I was like 12 years old and I was still pissed off. And then and then the Academy felt threatened by animation at that point. Oh, we can't let this happen again. So they had to create the best animated film category to put animation in its own little category, like the kiddie table or something. I hated that. Yeah. A good movie is a good movie. It belongs in with the rest of them. Like there should be no best animated movie category. But I digress. But for Wish, right? Okay, so we have this weekend. It's coming up a little soft. Okay, we got to be honest. Like it is. Yeah. This is a soft box office this weekend. It's supposed to come in like 33, 34 million. That's not super great. Okay, let's be real. But here's the thing. What do you think is going to happen with the legs here? Do you think this thing is going to have legs going into next weekend? In your opinion, now that you've seen it?
I would hope so. I really do. I still have high hopes for this movie. I think if people would stop being such a one-track mind and become a little bit optimistic and literally give this film a try, I guarantee you that they would enjoy it. They would absolutely love this movie. I don't know why people are so heavy on being so critical and they're not even giving the film a chance to even go see it.
There's a lot of things going on. Obviously, there's financial benefit to people that create content. I mean, it's the case, and that's fine. You make the content you want to make. I'm not telling anyone to stop doing that, but to pretend like that doesn't exist is being naive. It's absolutely out there.
That's like if I was to tell you, OG, really quick. Sorry to interrupt you, brother, but that's like if I was to say to you, "Oh, I hate ham. I can't stand ham. I don't like it. It's the worst food in the world." Oh, George, have you ever tried ham? No, I never tasted it before in my life, but I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
which I don't know a person on this earth that would hate ham. But it's like,
well, you know why I hate ham, George? Foster Farms is fucking woke. That's why I hate ham. Yeah, no, man. In all seriousness, it's wild.
But that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Yeah,
that's literally how ridiculous it sounds.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. But
and now I want to.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish it because I want to kind of stay on the topic, but I want to segue into something else that I completely forgot about.
No, absolutely. So I think this movie, my prediction, I think it's going to have strong legs. Now, again, I could be wrong. I'm not Nostradamus here, but this is just my prediction. Napoleon is getting pretty bad reviews, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I know it's a different demographic and everything, but that's going to take one piece off the table, kind of, right? Trolls is actually doing pretty good. Okay, I mean, Universal. Hey, look, dude, they know how to market to kids. They've had a few bangers, a few animated bangers. So Trolls is holding on pretty good. I suspect Trolls will continue to hold on pretty good next weekend as well. So it'll be between Wish and Trolls. I do think though that the word of mouth from Wish, because I do believe you're going to get these. Like what you're saying, George, when you actually see the movie, most people seem to come back and really enjoy it. The content creator, Christian Harloff, who I respect dearly. I've said it many times. If it wasn't for Harloff, I wouldn't be in this space. He inspired me to start my channel. So I respect that guy. And I agree with him on a lot of stuff. With Harloff, he was saying that the movie is fine. He thought it was okay, but his kids absolutely loved it. And I've been hearing that a lot, where maybe the adults are like, okay, it's good, okay, but their kids love it. I think that's going to help with the legs too. I think kids loving it, they're going to push their parents into like, hey, mommy, daddy, I want to see it again. That's going to be a big element here, because Harloff isn't the only person I've heard say that. A lot of people's kids are really, really enjoying it. It seems like kids are vibing with this, and it's probably because of the little star, but we'll see. Go ahead, George.
Right. But now you had mentioned about Trolls, and now if Trolls happens to outbeat Wish in record numbers, I want people to take this into account. This is the second sequel of Trolls in the franchise. So remember, folks, when they make Frozen 3 and 4, they're sequels. So
yeah, I know. Well, Universal's on their own standard, apparently.
Right, exactly.
They're on their own little island over there. They can do whatever the fuck they want. So
exactly. Second of all, that they are highly promoting this film because they are mentioning, because for all the older generation millennials out there that grew up in my generation, that NSYNC is now going to be part of the movie soundtrack, because they also do voice work in the movie alongside Justin Timberlake. And this is going to be their first single that they have done as a group in, I believe, over a decade or two, or 2 decades. It's one of the two.
For Trolls? This is happening in Trolls?
This is happening in Trolls. Okay. So for the older millennial demographic who grew up with NSYNC, that is a fan of the group, their music, knowing that they're all going to be in the movie, they're going to go see it. And of course, too, as I said, this is the second sequel of the franchise, so you're tying a second sequel up against an original, which is Wish. And honestly, you can't really kind of compare that, because, and that goes both ways. That's if you were to take Illumination's Migration, right, and you put that up against Frozen 3. Obviously, it's going to be overshadowed by Frozen 3.
Come on. You know what I'm saying? Of course. Of course. So I think we're going to come back next weekend, and we'll do a show. We'll do an Orange Nerd next weekend after the second weekend. It maybe Wish dies a dog's death at the box office next weekend. It drops like 70% or something crazy. Who knows, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think enough normies are enjoying this movie. I think kids are loving it. I think it's going to be okay, man. I think we're going to get some decent legs. Elemental saw some great legs. But what I would suggest to Disney, if you're watching this, I would announce the Disney Plus release date for this movie and make it like March. Like as far out as you can get it, right? Make it like March, dude. Because let parents know, hey, you're not going to see this anytime soon if you wait. Let them know. And here's the other thing too. When it comes to the Trolls versus the Wish comparison, these are two very different studios. And Alia has brought this to my attention. I think Alia is absolutely right on this. Alia, we love her, a friend of the channel. Disney has, and actually I think Seymour, another friend of the channel, also brought this up. I think actually Seymour brought this up on a video not too long ago, where Disney has a lot more subscribers with Disney Plus. A lot more than Peacock, okay? Like a lot more. So there are a lot more people in that Disney Plus system, subscribers. Well, when you have more people subscribe to Disney Plus, those people have a decision to make, right? What, am I going to watch this movie now, this Wish movie now, or am I going to wait till it goes on Disney Plus? Now, if you, not too many people have Peacock. Okay, it's not a huge service really. So you're kind of forced as a family. Most families don't have Peacock. So they're kind of forced to check the Universal movie out in theaters because there's no guarantee. Well, I don't have Peacock. We had to see it in theaters. Disney Plus is a different animal. Every family has Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? So that is the equation here. And a lot of people were fighting me on Twitter about that. And look, Universal is in a good position. I'm not saying Universal's not in a good position. Universal is actually in a better position when it comes to theatrical because of that low subscriber number with Peacock. Okay? Universal's at the advantage, but we can't ignore that this is an actual thing Disney needs to work through. Okay? Because their subscriber numbers, while good, is affecting their overall theatrical box office. We have to acknowledge that. And that's something they're gonna have to work through. And they might have to extend these windows out for animated films. You can't, I'm telling you, Disney, you cannot drop this movie on Disney Plus on Christmas. You have to wait.
And that's why, because if they do, then people know they have the one up on Disney. Oh, we'll trash talk it. We'll not go see it. We'll let them lose money at the box office just so that they can fall to their knees to us again to appease us and put it right on Disney Plus.
Right.
Disney has to stick to their guns.
They gotta extend. Look, Wish had a soft opening weekend. It did not have a disastrous end of the world weekend. Okay, that's not. Despite what you're hearing, that's not the case. It's a soft weekend. It was disappointing. Okay,
yeah.
That does not justify Disney to like, oh, we got to put this on Disney Plus in like 2 weeks. No, this is not bad enough for that. They have to extend this out. The word of mouth is good enough to warrant them sticking this out. They cannot put this on Disney Plus anytime soon. I hope to God, Disney, you get that through your head. If you announce a Christmas release for this on Disney Plus, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it. Families will wait. It's a month from now. They'll wait. You gotta let people know. You gotta let families know. If you want to see this movie, you gotta see it now. Otherwise, you're gonna have to wait till March.
Now, I want to ask you a question about this, OG, because I actually completely forgot about it until it popped in my head today, and I actually made it a tweet on it, which is actually getting a lot of traction. I got like over 2,500 views on this thing.
Man. You're getting like me now, huh, George?
Yes.
You're the tweet master, spicy tweet guy.
I actually posted that when I went to go see Wish, they did not show Once Upon a Studio prior to Wish. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And at first, when I made the tweet, I mentioned that I wonder if that was a good thing on Disney's behalf, because then that way, if they would have just stuck with it being released, then all these people that are not going to see the movie, they're not seeing the Once Upon a Studio. But then as I was reading the comments and really thinking about it, is why couldn't Disney do both? They released it early on ABC, but why still not showcase it ahead of a movie that they are claiming is 100 years in the making? And I sort of kind of was thinking that I wonder if Disney itself is being very doubtful right now. I wonder if they kind of got knocked down so bad by critics, by the public, by Hollywood, that we're now, saying that there has to be something. I wonder if Disney is just right now not really fully believing in their product, and it's like, okay, we're making these for people, but is it really enough? And I wonder if that's why it's making them seem vulnerable.
It's possible. I wonder if maybe they realized. I kind of feel like with Once Upon a Studio, it was already released. Well, it was on Disney Plus, I think, right? Already.
No, it's not released on Disney Plus yet.
I thought that's where I watched it, on Disney Plus.
Is that where you watched it? Because I know they released it on ABC.
Yeah, it was on ABC, but I watched it on Disney Plus.
Did they release it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on Disney Plus, and then so it's on Disney Plus, and they released it on ABC. So it's possible that they thought, like, you know what, it's out there already.
Right.
What's the point?
Do you think that was a bad mistake? Do you think they released again too soon?
I mean, it was a great short. I mean, it might have bolstered the Wish numbers. Who knows? Maybe they didn't think Wish needed it, or maybe they thought that like it's more important to bolster the Disney Plus than the ABC numbers. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think there was an executive decision made there. That was a little weird, to be honest with you, when they were putting it on Disney Plus and they were releasing it on network television.
Again, but as what you were saying, though, I think Disney is jumping the gun too quickly to release all this stuff on Disney Plus.
Right.
They have to, and I know Disney Plus isn't really making the number. Well, I mean, it did do kind of good, during the quarterly earnings. But I mean, I think that they're using they're using Disney Plus as a crutch. That it's like, okay, if this doesn't work out, throw it on Disney Plus. Okay, we have this, throw it on Disney Plus. They have to let things breathe before it hits the streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They have to let it. They're too quick to throw it on Disney Plus, but they're kind of in a bind, right? Because they need to fill the streamer with something to keep those numbers up.
Well, and
that's you can't.
And that's perfect because they just released Christmas with Walt Disney,
Oh, I
If they
know.
want to, which honestly was phenomenal. I love seeing things incorporated with Walt Disney himself. But there's so much content that is already still in the vault that they said in time everything is going to be implied onto this streaming service. Where the hell is it?
Well, the Disneyland at the World's
The
Fair,
World's Fair. Yes.
that was supposed to be released. I remember it was supposed to be released like around my birthday, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where is it? I haven't seen it. It's not on there. And hopefully they bring it out. I mean, from what I understand, the Christmas special with Walt Disney is doing very well. I mean, a lot of people
Yeah.
are watching that.
Yeah. And so it's like, and isn't Disney recognizing that they have so much content, even if I'm not saying release it all at once, but release little bulks at a time that it could then stretch out that time frame so new movies can have a oversized lapse time in theaters. They won't have to rush it on Disney Plus. Give something that people can look forward to while they're enjoying Disney Plus rather than just have nothing and then it's like, okay, now release, boom, release Wish, boom, release uh you, you know Soul, boom, release Luca. It's like let a film progress, and let it eventually reach Disney Plus. But in the meantime, release a lot of this great nostalgic content that Disney was known for over the decades.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They have a lot of tweaking to do with this stuff,
Yeah.
and the industry in general does, but Disney, they really have to kind of get in a rhythm with this.
Yeah.
They still haven't really found their way with the whole streaming thing and all that. It's really it's weird, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. I don't know. It's fascinating. We're gonna keep an eye on this stuff, though. I don't know, man.
The Wish saga continues.
It continues, and I'm telling you, it's hot out there on Twitter, man. People are so opinionated and so vocal and so like on either side. It's just like,
Oh, and that's another thing too, kind of going back to our original topic about, with Hollywood and with Disney. I'm so used to seeing such high publicity for these films. I remember when they showcased the I know this is a Pixar film, but still it where they had the premiere of Finding Nemo and they rolled out a blue carpet, because of the ocean and what have you, and they had the director Andrew Stanton, the actors, everyone was on this blue carpet with all the Hollywood press and all the paparazzi and photography, and it was like you would think that this was that the Queen of England was coming down the blue carpet, and it was for an animated Pixar film,
right.
and it was like, so where? And I know that Wish had a premiere, but where is the publicity for the premiere to hype this thing up? Why isn't people talking about this in Hollywood? Why is it all hush hush? I don't get it.
And the premiere was cool. I saw some of it on Twitter where like they had the drone show and stuff. Like that was pretty cool with the little star. Did you see that on Twitter?
Yes, I did.
That was awesome. But they
I
don't really.
Yeah, it's like they just post it and it's like that's it. Where's the coverage? Where's the hype? Where's the talk after?
Right. Yeah, no, it seems subdued. There's like a funk going on right now with Disney and stuff, and even Hollywood in general, where it's just like the enthusiasm ever since the Rona and the lockdowns, the energy in the room has just been completely sucked out.
Yep,
And
it did.
I mean, it's gonna take a little while to get their mojo back, I think, but I don't know, man. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I'm rooting for this thing, and I hope it does really, really great numbers next weekend. So just show all the haters, hey, you know what? What do you got now? How you like it now? You know what I'm saying? Well, we'll see. I don't want to get, you never know. I mean, in all seriousness, it might not do well next weekend. I really don't know. I have a feeling though it will, though. I do.
I'm optimistic. I'm going to stay positive. I mean, nothing is guaranteed. I am slightly worried, just because.
Of course, me too.
But I mean, I think honestly, if Elemental had legs and ended up coming out better than expected, I can see Wish doing the same.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. Well, George, the Italiano, it's always good talking shop with you. I'm glad we had, some time together today to kind of vent because it's been crazy on Twitter and all this crap going on. So it was great to talk to you and kind of vent and talk about this stuff. But if you let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You can now also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Perfect. Oh, and we got to do this, right? Because we're getting into the comments. We're going to get this in the comments. We're getting it, bro. We're getting it.
Of course. It's
whatever.
like, whatever.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, call me a pixie duzzer. I don't give a shit. I really don't care. But
I'd probably say, if you do, I'd be like, I'm proud of it.
There we go. A little, but thank you so much for watching. Comment down below. We would love to hear your opinion on this whole thing. Like, is Hollywood getting a little more hostile with the Mouse House? I can kind of sense it. The Italiano kind of senses it. It's kind of out there with the trades and everything. But what do you guys and gals think? We'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Wish and the talk around Wish, the opening weekend being pretty soft, pretty weak? We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.